Welcome back to the Ivy Unleashed podcast. Happy February, everyone. The month of love.
Yeah. Oh, and we look like Christmas and Valentine's Day all mixed up together.
So, most often we say, I'm wearing this, but today we just really let it up to the universe, and the universe said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about this new year.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a month since we spoke and caught you up on what's going on in life. And I feel like there is so much good going on and so many reasons for it. And we want to always share what's helping us. Like when I'm in such a good space, like I want to be aware of what's creating this magic. I want to break it down. I want to share it with the people. Take what works for you. Moral of the story is we're going to always share what's going on with us. And if it applies to you, take it. And if it doesn't, leave it.
Yeah. Last episode, our solo episode, we talked about our word of the year. And I shared that mine was happy. And yesterday I sent out our newsletter. And in it, I had a little blurb about, do you even remember your New Year's resolutions? And I'm like, shit, what were mine? But all I could remember was happy. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to prioritize the things that make me happy, the things that make me feel good. And really what that comes down to is self-love, right? Loving myself enough to take care of myself. And I always say that's been my biggest aha moment throughout this healing journey when I first got sick with my gut health and trying to figure out it's when I come back to a place of choosing things, setting boundaries around things that make me feel good, loving myself enough to do the hard things sometimes. Like that's what really makes me feel good.
So what's that look like right now?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Okay. You have 17 minutes. Okay. So first of all, I would say I'm really prioritizing my own yoga practice. So I became a yoga teacher because I freaking love yoga, right? And in all of the trainings and the classes I would take, they would say, it's really easy to forget your own practice. And I'm like, okay, yeah, right. But it's true. Like I'm realizing I'm teaching like 5 to 7 times a week, just Monday through Friday. So multiple classes some days. And like where in that, on top of everything else, am I actually practicing? So making that a priority, planning that ahead of time, planning my workouts ahead of time, like knowing exactly when things are happening, that I say is a big one for me. I made it a January goal to try and do yoga like every day, or at least the first 14 days. We did our 14-day first of the year yoga challenge, and mine was yoga. So yoga, a big one. More sleep. Sleep is huge. I got the Rise app, if you're familiar. It's really cool. So it calculates based on like the last 100 and some days of your phone data. And if you use an Apple Watch or some sort of tracker to see on the days where you're sleeping a lot, like what is your sleep debt? So on the weekends, I'm sleeping way more because I'm trying to catch up on the sleep that I didn't get throughout the week, right? Everyone, I'm sure can relate to that. So this app tells you like, what is your ideal sleep? And whether it's true or not, I'm like, it's still kind of cool and I'm going to experiment with it. So for me, it's 8 hours and 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, that's way more. Like I'm barely getting 7.
That's when you feel your best?
According to the app, that's like what I need to not be in any sleep debt.
Okay.
So like to not have to make up for it on the weekends. Because I would sleep, I kid you not, 12 hours, Saturdays and Sundays. And I could sleep all day. But I was getting like barely 7 hours during the day because I'd want to wake up and take a 6 a.m. class and we'd be up at 4:30 and like just trying to figure out how to do all of the things.
Yeah. It's a puzzle.
It's such a puzzle. So now I'm really focused on, okay, going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, and being like having boundaries around that. And that's helped me a lot. I could list like many other things, but I would say those are my big 2 right now. Oh. More sleep and more feel-good movement.
I like it. And I love that. I've never really thought about, us as personal trainers and yoga instructors, how important it is to have your own thing. Because I feel like my own thing is running. Mm-hmm. And the strength training, I just get in by leading it with other people. Because most of the time I like do at least half the moves with people or maybe even more.
Yeah.
Because I'm demonstrating and I'm doing it with them. And then running is like my own thing. But when you're a yoga instructor and yoga is your favorite thing, I bet that's hard to like separate. Like, I did do it, but like, it wasn't just for me.
Right. I mean, I am finding like I get lost in the flow now teaching, and I think that's just getting my reps in. Like I'm getting more comfortable, and like it feels really good and it feels really cool. But there's nothing that compares to like going to a studio, completely checking out and getting lost in it and not having to think, okay, what comes next, and like memorizing a sequence. And at first it was really hard for me to take classes, and it still kind of is, because I feel like I'm a sponge where I just want to learn everything. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, okay, I can actually maybe take like one cue from a teacher to better my teaching, but then the rest I'm like, okay, no, like stop comparing yourself, stop trying to be like the learner right now, and just enjoy. Because I don't want to get to a point where I resent it or I don't love it.
Yeah.
And I think when you don't have that time for yourself in anything in life, right, you resent what's keeping you from that.
I feel like what you're saying is so profound, and it's like making me emotional because Brooke,
bitch, I ain't even saying anything emotional.
Yes, you are, because I feel like you don't even realize. I feel like you don't even realize what's happened in the last, however many months. What has it been since you've become an instructor?
So I did free classes at the yoga studio to like really get my reps in September. And then I was live on the schedule in October. So I would say like June, July, August, I put my head down and got certified. And then starting in September. So September, October, November, December, January.
So let's just say like half a year, because like you were really in the midst of like yoga and like instructing, even though you were learning.
Yes.
So I feel like, okay, the mission behind our business, you are living. Mm-hmm. Because what we want everybody to do is listen to the calling and step into something they know they love that lights them up. Mm-hmm. Even if it's hard, even if it takes investing in yourself, stepping away from things, sacrificing some time, some energy. And then I have the privilege of watching you do it, because it's so cool. Like that's what makes me emotional, is like this morning I'm on a coaching call and I can hear Brooke below me teaching yoga. And I like felt like, wow, this is what we want our life to look like. And you have a different voice when you instruct yoga. Like, you guys, if you have not been in class with Brooke instructing you, I was talking about her at this business I was at yesterday, because I was like, have you guys had Brooke yet teach yoga? And they're like, no. Because it's not just about movement with you. The whole time you're teaching people how to get in their body, which is such a life skill, which we also talk about and want women to do, is like slow down and get in your body. You're demonstrating it for them. And not only that, it's like you're empowering them the whole time to think about how good they want to feel, that they can do this, that it's important for them to take time for themselves. In the midst of getting healthier and de-stressing, it's just like, I feel like the whole package of what you've done in the last half a year, and it's just like so cool to watch, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. It's cool to hear an outside perspective, and of course words of affirmation are my love language, so keep them coming. But when you're in the midst of it, like I still feel like a little puppy. Like I'm like I know nothing. Right? Because I'm around people that have years and years of experience, which is good. Like I don't want to be the one with the most experience, but it is this like ego check of, no, I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm in the right spot. I have more to learn, but that doesn't mean I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
Another key component to life. Like that's another thing we talk about on this podcast, is like, we're not the experts of things, but of everything, but we know a lot of things, and we're going to share what we know, and we're always going to be growing and learning and evolving. And I feel like you're not letting that stop you from instructing.
Yeah.
There's always room for growth, and you're not claiming to be like the expert of their life, but you're sharing your gifts. And so many people, Brooke has testimonies of people being like, how many years have you been doing this? And so, not to keep tooting your horn, but it's just like, yeah, it doesn't matter that there's only 6 months in. Like, get in the arena, figure out what you're called to, and just start practicing it. Start getting in there and sharing what you're learning along the journey. Like, because it's never going to be this perfect done thing.
Yeah. And I just want to share, because I think it's important to acknowledge, right, when you have like that little nudge, that calling that Andrew keeps saying, something like you're being guided towards and it's scary and you're like, I don't know. Like for me, that was yoga. And the reason it was that is because when I practice, like I'm in my body, I feel at peace. I feel home in my body. So when I started teaching and getting certified, I'm like, that's what I want everyone to walk away with. And it's really cool when you don't tell anyone that, but people recognize that. So I just want to read like a little testimony, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. So someone sent me a message and he said, after taking one of my classes, I don't know the ultimate benefit the world will gain, but the immediate benefit is that students get to be at home in their bodies and find peace in their hearts and their minds. Oh my God, I'm crying. You get to continue to blossom as you share the love in your heart, pressed down and full to overflowing. He said, when we draw from infinite love, we become touched by infinity. OMG times infinity plus love equals you.
Oh,
like the sweetest message. I don't know the ultimate benefit the world will gain, but the immediate benefit is that people get to feel at home in their bodies, peace in their hearts and minds, which like, and I had never told them, like, this is why I started teaching. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those moments of like, oh, okay, God, universe, like, I hear you. I trust you. Like, let's keep seeing where this path leads, following the breadcrumbs. And I share that with you because I want everyone else to experience that moment of like surreal fulfillment is what I'll call it. Of like, oh, okay. The pain, all of the agony of like, why? Like now it makes sense. And it's really hard to trust the process. Mm-hmm. But I think reflecting back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't make sense as you're going through it, but it is important to pause and reflect so that you understand why you are where you are in the moment, because it's not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's powerful. That's such a beautiful testimony. And I'm so happy they shared that with you because sometimes people feel things and they just don't say. And for him to share that, like what a heartwarming moment to have, I'm sure.
So if you're listening and you've never done yoga or you want to do yoga or you're just intrigued by it, send me a message and come play with me. It's very fun.
Yeah. And a new thing we've been doing too is we've been offering, if you've never done Move, your first workout's free.
Yeah.
We want you to we don't want you to jump into a membership that you've never experienced. Like that just doesn't seem fair. Some people did at first, but it's like, if I understand why you would want to see like, what would it look like? Do I get a Zoom link? Like, where could I do this workout in my house? What time of day might this look like? And so when at a time and the type of workout aligns with what you want to try, let us know or comment back on whatever we post and we will send you a link. It's that easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what for you? How are you loving yourself right now?
I feel like love for me is coming, like it is so deep and like beyond me right now.
Oh Lord.
I am just like so deep in my faith that like, it's like a combination of the morning time and what I'm putting in it, volunteering at my church and my youth group and being a part of something that is so beyond me. Mm-hmm. And the messages of the worship music and the Bible and the devotionals I'm getting into, that's like how special you are to be on this planet, along with reading this book, The Power of Now. This book, okay, it is so deep and it can easily go over your head. But I'm telling you, it is such a game changer. I have never been more present in my life. And I feel like I said that before because like I stopped drinking and that makes you more present. But this book really helps you separate like and understand what your mind is doing because we're in this like ramped up hurry state of mind. It's the monkey mind. It's literally always going. Like, you know, we're like, oh, my monkey mind was going because I was this stressed out. It's like, no, it's always going. It is always going. And I'm really flexing now the power of now with this book of in this moment, feeling the sensations, looking at my surroundings. Everything is like in slower motion. It is unbelievable. It is the best book I think I've ever read as far as like how it's improving my life besides the Bible.
Are you almost done with it?
No, because I'm reading it really slow because it is very, the way it's written. Okay, so first of all, it's Eckhart Tolle. And he's like, I learned about him through Oprah. But then when Amelia from All Things Elderberry was on, she mentioned this book and how she needs to read it like once a year. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, why once a year? It must be pretty profound or deep. And she's right. It is one of those books that when you read a page, they even put a little sign to like pause and like take it in. Because it's like, if you keep going, then you're in that hurried state. You're just trying to like absorb and move on. You know, it's like, read this slowly and think about it and practice it. It's almost like you're working out your brain in the midst of reading the book in a way I have never experienced. And so everything I'm doing now, I'm recognizing like this moment, and this is where it gets really woo-woo-y and like over your head unless you like have the book and you're really taking the time. But it's like, this is literally all we have. If we focus on what is right in front of us and see the blessings here, only focusing on the gifts that are right in front of us, that's all we have to do. Like, I know there's things in life that we have to like get to, like, sure, kids are going to come home and like things are going to happen. But in the place where your feet are planted, how are you taking care of the blessings you already have? Because why would you get more if you don't even see them now? Why would you expect anything different? Because we always want more or different or whatever. But it's just, I'm feeling the love because I am feeling like how blessed I am. And I knew that before, but it's so different because it's like to the smells, to the lighting, to the essence of the room, to the energy someone just walked in. Like, it is blowing my mind. I feel like I'm high. Like, I feel like, I don't even know. Is that like make sense to you what I'm saying?
Oh, totally. I mean, okay, first things first, it reminds me a lot of yoga, right? Like you are focusing on your breath in your body. You are so in the present moment. And so that's why I love it. And the second thing I'll say is when you first started reading it, you told me, I'm learning how like we are just observers of our thoughts. And so are we the observer or are we the person thinking? Like, who are we? It's just having just these like big aha moments. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes. How I'm like thinking of it now is like, if you kind of think about of your soul, right? Like your brain is in this body and this body is working. But we can observe like what's happening. Oh, my knee hurts, or I'm thinking this thought. So like,
that's why like we're not our body,
right? It's mind blowing. It's so trippy to think about. And some people are like, oh God, here we go. You know, but if you think about it, it's almost like a secret weapon, because if you take moment for moment, you're not thinking too far in the future about what someone might think about you, what might say. Like, you're slowing down your reaction time. You're really taking in what someone just said to you. You're like pausing more. And I'm just so grateful for this book. Like, I'm so happy that I'm reading it right now. So
it's like I knew
now
when I got it for you for Christmas. Not going to toot my own horn, but you're welcome. Let's all just take this in. No, that's amazing. And I look forward to reading it when you're done. Speaking of books, we have decided that this year we're going to do something a little different on Ivy Unleashed. We have had on so many authors. We are constantly talking about books. And so we're like, why don't we just start a book club? So once a month, we're going to read a book and we're going to talk about it. We'll share what book we're reading ahead of time. So if you want to listen to the episode in real time, like after you finished it. So we've got a few lined up. We're really excited about it. And I think just giving some books a little extra love and sharing our takeaways, bringing new books to your attention. We know a lot of you listeners are avid book readers as well. I feel like there's so many books out there and like we've just scratched the surface. And it also really holds us accountable to reading more, which I like.
I'm really excited about this. I have so many books and I love that there's some accountability wrapped in here. So tell them the first book of our book club.
We're going to be reading You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Bree Johnson, one of our dear friends, she recommended it. She gifted it to me. I think she actually let me borrow it, and I have already started to highlighted the crap out of it. So Bree, I will be sending you a new copy. It's so good, and it's the month of love, so I'm really excited. So if you're listening and you want to read it with us and then listen to the episode after, it's You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Yep, we'll post it on socials too. But Jen Gottlieb, this book changed her life. She was in such a tough spot in New York City when she was on Broadway or about to be on Broadway, I think. And her mom gave her this book. And to this day, she talks about it. And then she got a book deal with Hay House, the publishing company that is the same book, which is just wild story.
Yeah. And that episode will air when? So people have enough time to read.
February 25th.
Okay. February 25th.
Is when we'll talk about You Can Heal Your Life.
Okay. Massive accountability all around.
Yes.
225.
So this month we want to encourage you different ways to love on yourself. Obviously, reading is one of them, and it sounds like this book hopefully will be a good one.
It's a great one.
I also just want to talk about our bodies, right? You know, we're constantly talking about movement and different ways to feel better, and that's my go-to. You know, has been very easy for me is movement, but I've kind of tapped into other things recently that have really helped me. I think have this super clear mind. Really so my word is radiance for 2025. I don't think I had landed on it until after we had recorded that episode, but radiance. And the reason why I chose that is that's how I want to feel. I want to just feel radiant. I want to feel so good in my skin. I want to have that energy. I want to be beaming. I want people to have lots of energy from me. I just want to be this light, right? And I feel like I am. And I know part of it is these things I'm doing that I have never done before, which is really focusing on protein and tracking it. It's taking magnesium because it's helping my sleep. It's helping my stress levels. And then I just found out too, it helps you absorb vitamin D. So that makes so much sense.
Shout out Smidge.
Yes. So Smidge Magnesium. We're not just trying to promote this brand for no reason. It is really helping me. And those are just a few things I'm doing with my body that are upping my game, upping my energy, making me feel radiant. And I think it's important that when we're doing these things, we share them. And that's why Brooke and I are sharing about Smidge. And when it comes to protein, something that we want to share with you is that I'm currently building, I don't know what this is going to be called, but I'm building this resource for Move where I'm taking all the information I'm gathering of all these easy things to add to your food that has protein in it, that is raw, whole food, good for you. And because I'm looking up everything, how many grams, and seeing, it's almost like a game of calculation. How can I get more protein? Because it does help so much with how I'm feeling and with hormones. And I've known this for years. We all know it's good for you, but I'm actually motivated and taking action on this. And so I'm going to create something to share it. So another reason to join Move. So we'll be talking about that a lot and sharing those resources because, if I can feel this good, I want everybody to feel this good.
So give us a little teaser on how much protein are you aiming for? Why that number? And then meals, what's helping you? Maybe just a few things or a sample meal that you're loving.
Yes. Well, I always think it's great to start your day off strong. Because if you don't, then you're oh gosh, I'm playing catch up. How am I? It's when you're tracking water and then you have to drink 100 ounces right before bed.
And then you're peeing all night.
Exactly. It makes no sense. So with what I'm doing, and I've never done this before either, is I am drinking a protein drink in the morning. And that gets me 22 grams right away. And then I have my breakfast with it, which is 10 grams of protein. So I'm starting my morning with over 30 grams of protein easily.
Good stuff.
So that's just Greek yogurt, some seeds, some nuts with a bunch of berries on my granola. So that's how I'm just starting. And then with lunch, it's just I always like having a salad, but it's just less of the leafy greens. I'm still having leafy greens, a lot of them, but I'm loading protein on this thing, and I'm really adding a lot of black beans into my diet. Beans, I've read so much about. This is my research. That was one of my words. Is beans are such a great way to get in protein, and you just got to be careful because anything you're adding that you haven't had, you don't want to add a ton of it because your stomach is ugh. You can get gassy and stuff if you have too much of anything. So I'm doing, some type of meat with beans and then throwing in veggies and cooking veggies with it. And then I'm topping it with pumpkin seeds, walnuts, chia seeds. And so just by the time I am done with my lunch, I've got probably 75 grams. So I'm aiming for the whole day to have at least 100. That's my goal. Okay. And then if I have more than that, great. But that's where I'm starting because trying to get a certain amount that's above that, to me, it just it's not necessary because me getting to 100 is a huge change from where I was. Yeah. I'm a very carb-focused person. I love breads and pastas and berries and all the carbs.
I'm excited to see what this does for your running, right? Because all we hear is, carb load. But what about protein loading?
Well, I also do have a lot of carbs too. I just eat a lot of everything, but I'm just making sure protein is the focus.
Yeah. I'm just saying now that you're having more protein and you haven't before, what you're going to notice with your long runs. And
I don't know, but I've got 3 marathons in the fall. I got to find one for spring. I'm looking for one in May. I've got to get it in the books because I just love having one of them booked, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's another love language.
Yeah.
Way you're pouring into you. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, I feel like I need to know, what are you eating? What are you drinking?
What are you doing? What am I eating? What am I drinking? Well, before bed, I've been introducing Sleepy Time tea, and that shit just hits. Highly, highly recommend pairing that with my Smidge Magnesium. I've been loving that duo. I also have been focusing on protein. Also just getting in enough calories. So tracking calories just to like see where I'm at with my protein. And I don't necessarily have specific numbers that I want to hit. I just want to make sure I'm having like a decent amount of protein at each meal, and having breakfast before coffee, or if I'm having coffee, I put protein in it. So I'm having like protein coffee with our Everyday Dose coffee. I've been really, really liking that. So trying to not have caffeine on an empty stomach is a good way I'm trying to love myself and my hormones. What else? Really focusing on whole real foods, I would say. Kind of doing Whole30, not really strict. There you can't do added sugar, so I still do honey and monk fruit, but just an emphasis on cooked veggies in general, fruit, like actually eating food and nourishing my body, not skipping lunch, carving out time. I feel like I'm being very intentional with what I'm saying yes to, what I'm saying no to, like pausing before I say yes to be like, okay, if I say yes to this, can I still do the things I need to, like have lunch or eat dinner with Ian or, you know, whatever it may be. Not just saying yes, 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 being like, oh, actually, I'm going to put me first and say yes to me, and then I'll decide. So that's been cool.
I love that. That's a great rule of thumb. I was going to circle back to your coffee. I don't know if I told you this. I was out of Everyday Dose for like 10 days. And I love coffee. So I went back to my regular coffee, and like anxiety came back. Like I didn't realize that buzz that I loved before, how like it made my brain go, like it had 50 additional thoughts all at the same time. And like the rush and the hurry and the whatever, it did not help me focus like I thought it helped me focus before. Like that buzz, like, you know, got me to the computer, but then I felt like there was 50 tabs open and I couldn't focus. Everyday Dose is like, you still get the caffeine, but not as much. And the adaptogens, oh my gosh, it's like, I don't need anything else after having that. I'm so content. I'm so focused. It's absolutely crazy. And so I will like never go back to regular coffee unless I'm just like out.
Yeah.
I need to order more, and then I'll kick myself again like I did the last 10 days.
I've been liking their coffee in the morning and then matcha in the afternoon. That has been a fun stack because I am used to drinking a lot of caffeine, and I think there's 48, 46 milligrams in their coffee. So there is still some coffee in it, but I feel like I need to go a little slower because otherwise I do notice a huge shift, and we need that energy. So we gotta slowly wean off, but I feel like I'm putting things in place like having food with it, or having just a little more in the afternoon, but not as much caffeine in the afternoon because of their matcha. So
should we do an episode on caffeine?
Damn, that would really hold you accountable, wouldn't it?
Oh, man. Okay, we'll put it off for a little bit. Let's do it like in summer.
Yeah, give me like 6 months, would you?
But I feel like we should talk about like caffeine, how it affects the body. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? And how we play with it. And
yeah. I feel like I don't know enough about it. And my hesitation is there with anything. There's studies that are going to support it and there's studies that not.
Yeah.
And everyone is biased depending on their experience with it, depending on
their sensitivity to it.
Exactly. Are you prone to anxiety? Are you not? Are you open to trying other things? I feel like, you know, if we had someone to come on and talk about caffeine, we'd have to be very careful, and particularly with who we choose, because I don't want to give it a bad rap, because there are studies that show it's great for you.
Oh, yeah. I've heard it's like lengthens your life.
But there are, you know, it's your personal experience with it.
Yeah.
So I think if we talked about it, it would be our experience with it, which we've already kind of hinted at. I'm not against it. Maybe, you know, drop your thoughts in the comments if you'd want us to talk about it and what we're noticing.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's powerful, like what we've played with and what we've noticed.
Yeah.
Especially with just what we're juggling. Like energy is huge for us. And I don't know, there is something about waking up and having having a little cup of Joe, you know?
I love it.
I know. So finding that cup of Joe, a better alternative.
And I love mixing it now with the frother. Oh my gosh, my kids like fight over who gets to do it. And I like when I do it before they're up, so I get to do it.
Yeah. So playing with caffeine, playing with yoga, the power of now, some books. We're going to start our book club again. February 25th is when you can tune in. Get the power of now. Sorry. Well, the power of now, and you can heal your life.
Yeah, you can heal your life.
Both.
Louise Hay.
Louise Hay.
Oh, we'll put it in our bookstore. We'll link it in the show notes. First thing you'll see, link to Louise Hay's book. So you can just click it and grab
Easy
it from
grab.
there. Yeah.
I love it. Let us know how you're pouring into you this month. We love the ideas. We love sharing, right? No gatekeeping in this community. So send us a DM, comment on social media. Just let us know what you're loving.
Yeah.
Share the good word.
I love it. Well, thank you for tuning in. I love when we do a love episode. We do it every year. So you can go back to the February. Usually I'm in pink. I forgot to wear pink today.
I'm on brand.
But we hope that you have such a beautiful month, pouring into yourself, loving on your people, finding ways to be present, to be in the now, truly. And it's a practice, so don't be too hard on yourself. But our piece of gold for today, for this month of love, is from Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, however you say his last name. Love is a state of being. Your love is not outside. It is deep within you. You can never lose it, and it cannot leave you. This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and love, and go chase your gold.
Yay!
Good work.
I cannot wait for you to read this book.
Oh, I'm so excited.